So we're live. Yes, we are. So I am Brenda Power Medicine Woman. Brenda Power Medicine is to feel and to learn. And Spirit has been following me all today, all last night. So I live it, breathe it, walk it, talk it, and dream it all the time. So I was healing all night long. And one of the things is that as you get your brainwave in a deep state of trance, people think, oh, it's just meditation, it's hypnosis. And what it is that your brainwave, like, you know what anxiety is, it's high beta. And what is high beta? It is when you feel anxiety. Beta right now, you're listening to me, that's a brainwave, okay? But when you're watching TV, that drops, usually to alpha. And then when it drops even further, you can have theta, and you drop further and it's delta. But it's all about the brain waves. So while I'm sleeping, I can really get caught up into that brain wave and do all the healing. Hello, everybody. A Spirit says, we got to talk today. And I said, okay. Now, so far, my space is a mess. I didn't get to really clean it. But you know what? It doesn't matter. The YouTube one over here is, what do you call, delayed. So I don't know how it's going to show up. But, you know, if you lose me here, it's on YouTube. But Spirit says, oh, and so when you get up and you have something on your mind, you have to learn to write it down. And I started healing something, and it was called the shadow self. Now, just think just for a moment, what did people tell you what the shadow self is? And some of you may have never heard of the shadow self. So let's take a second and you tell me what you think the shadow self means. Okay? It's good to see all of you. I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing the nighttime shows just yet. Came back from Fiji and lifestyles change, and so we'll see what happens. But again, what do you think the shadow self means? My glasses don't want to stay on, and my contacts don't want to work. And so, well, good to have all of you that are new. That makes me happy. You know, the only way that this is going to work is if you share the love and let people know about us, so that me and Spirit and all the other things. When I say about us, like the dark night of the soul. Yeah, that could be very good. Dark night of the soul. Now, sometimes Spirit has a lot to say about that too. You got to remember, you are Spirit first. And it's when you over-identify with matter. And we could get really technical and say there's no such thing as matter. But in order to have a terms for people to hang on to what is, to hang on to what humans can comprehend, particular things, because there is no such thing as matter, because 99.99%, there's always a bunch of nines, is just space, nothing. And it's just that certain frequency, that's the vibration of that frequency is lower just enough that you can see it. Now that's where the world we play, in the world of holograms. And the dark night of the soul, sometimes when you're just ego and you're not Spirit, is when you are this deep emotions. And you got to understand, the only way that you really have thoughts or obsessive thoughts, because you have 41 thoughts per minute, 60,000 to 70,000 thoughts per day. And you don't really have an original thought, because I think it's like 95% of it is the same as the day before, but just in different arrangements. Your soul has so many things it wants to work on, so many things that it was conditioned that it wants to uncondition. It wants to relearn. And some of the dark nights of the souls before I learned healing tools, resolution tools, was the emotion would kick in and then it would drive my mind crazy. Insanity is that, to me, is defined as I can't make something stop. It just continues and continues until it drives me nuts. That's how I define sanity. Insanity. And then Spirit says, okay, we're going to give you tools to help stop it. And then we're going to give you more tools to help change thoughts so that the 41 thoughts per minute are not about the same thing, or until you're high beta, until you create all these chemicals. And then that dark night of the soul is then you have to go through so much of the emotions and the pain, and it's that shift from incompetent and unconscious to conscious competence. And sometimes that can be such a major bitch slap. And Spirit has shown me that I am to teach you how to do whispering opportunities. Then go into understanding that a whispering opportunity is better than a flying bitch slap. And in between the flying bitch slap and the whispering opportunity, and the whispering opportunities can be done with laughter and fun and joy. You can learn a lesson that way? Yes, because it's working with synchronicities and surprises and with Spirit. And when you begin to have insights with your authentic self about your over-identification, and then to use tools to resolve it instead of keep rethinking it and keeping your habits and your reasoning excuses, you move beyond it. But in between that is from flying bitch slap to getting your ass kicked, to getting slapped down on your knees. I think it goes slap down on your knees, then the bitch slap, or bitch slap. But then you got bee stings and mosquito bites, and something that gets your attention. And Spirit says to me, there's a meme that says, how would you even know to grow or to move if you didn't have something bad happen to you? And I said, that's just the old way of doing something. Spirit says, good. Now you need to go out there and teach people, but you also now have to go deeper into your shadow self. So that shadow self is it could be the polar opposite of what you are. It can be that great conflict, or that part of yourself you don't want people to know that you're a bitch in real life, or that sometimes you choose to do the wrong things because it makes you feel good. Or sometimes the shadow self is that it's like, I don't want anybody to know that I'm in pain. I mean, it can be anything defined less than love. It can be the shadow self. It's these masks that we constantly are having to put on to please somebody. I'm going to say Cheryl Richardson. Oh, I probably got the wrong woman. She just describes the story about how it's about how she, no, that's the wrong woman. Anyways, the grandma puts out all these cookies, and the little girl, one for you and all the rest for me. And then you hear shame and guilt coming out of this woman's mouth, that it hurts so deep that the little girl goes, now it's all about how you took it. Okay, it's energy coming in, and how it hurts you, and you become a victim. But then how do you react? And then it's the mask, and you look around like, how do I make this pain, these emotions, these thoughts go away? And how do I get this person that just seemed to be inflicting it on me? Now, nobody really inflicts it, but this is our reflections. And how do I get them to not think that bad about me, because I'm not that bad? And so then we have to put on the mask of self-doubt. We have to put the mask of being the good girl. We have to put on these hats and roles and things that we have to play. And so I'm like, oh. And Spirit says, now I want you to take and look at the phrases. Okay. I want you to look at phrases. And I find that very important, because we're going to talk about that. So as I look up here, the dark night of the soul, yes. My hurts, yes. What bothers you, yes. Yes. The deep dark self, yes. Bitch slaps that are not fun, absolutely. And Natasha, someone told me the other day, if we don't spiritually see in color, then we are on a lower frequency, rather than just accepting that it's just what it is. That's rather interesting. Let me just contemplate just for a second and listen to spirit. Do you know what's funny about this? The spirit, Pleasantville. Did you ever see that movie? It's got Reese Witherspoon, I think, in it. And everybody's black and white. And this is before the fourth chakra really opened up, because the first three, it was all about survival. This. And then the heart started to open, and everybody's fifth chakra of, I don't know if I want to assimilate, and yes, I want to assimilate, and in the sixth chakra of, okay, it's too much sensory system, shut it off. And but the heart, and as these people began to feel and to think differently and stop being cookie cutters, color started to go into these people, and they thought it was a disease. And I can tell you that when you go into, now we're going to just jump to another thing, colors. When you go into dimensions, colors, wow. When you start to shift your thinking, your beliefs, your limited decisions, and the paradigms, and you begin to take what's unconscious and incompetent, and you have that hard transition or an easy transition, which is now conscious, and you have more competence. You move from that novice to beginning to become that master, and because you didn't know how to do it, but now you do, and that point in between, the way the brain and you function is really what we like to talk about, because this is something that's very important. But when you, like Amy Schmalz, she says, oh my God, she says, I think I'm looking in 5D, because the colors and the trees and what you're looking at is code, and you're looking at fractals, and you're looking at the frequencies of the musical notes and the colors. The colors have vibratory frequencies, and the more that you begin to listen with your soul and your higher self, those colors do vibrate differently, because the more negative you are, the more it does dull your musical notes that are in your body, the colors that make up your aura, the sensory system that you are. And it's not always about what it is. It is what it is. To some degree, you could have that, but if you were to listen to spirit, you could actually take it deeper. We are all energy. And then you have what's called power versus force. And I can't remember who wrote the book right now, but you have that cutoff point. You have guilt, shame, and all of these, and you can give a numerical number to them. And then when you hit to the stage of love, then the number gets higher. And why? Well, in a way, there is different colors, because you're talking about chakras. And in some cases, if you're working just through the first three, which is red and orange and yellow, not always going to do that, because they're all of the chakras are nested, and all the chakras you'll be found in all the other chakras. And you can't have any problems unless you start having the lower three. You have issues with the lower three. And the colors, when I'm looking at an aura, sometimes I will see a lot of red up into this part of the body. And sometimes the red will be more crimson, and sometimes it'll be more dark. And they all have a unique way of talking. But if you weren't going to talk about them in chakra talk, then you would talk about them in a very vibratory frequency of color. And people will tell you, I mean, you drive down Restaurant Row, which is where all the restaurants are. A lot of them have red and yellow. And it's the way they stimulate to make you feel and to eat and to not eat. And I think it's Subway that makes the restaurant pleasant enough to come in and buy, but uncomfortable enough that makes you leave. Stay just for a short amount of time. And there's a lot of psychological stuff that happens with color. And so it's really that shadow self But you can't be you without it. We came here to find out what love is. But it's not about just going, oh, I love you, because we already were there. We already knew what love was. But just like when you go in a dark room, you don't know that you need the light until you start noticing and comparing and, oh, I need light on. And so then you flick the light on. Now it just becomes automatic. You go into a dark space, you turn on the light. And sometimes when you go outside to see the stars, you have to shut off the light in order to see the dark and the light. And it's about that contrasting. And people get very confused when it comes to, well, there's chaos and there's contrast. Oh my God, I'm doing something wrong. It is, you have to get rid of that negative, conscious victimization, the effect side of the equation, because it's like, what is my soul projecting? What is it that I'm supposed to see? And since I feel uncomfortable, if we didn't know if we could move until we felt uncomfortable. Because sometimes we can get very complacent and we'll put up with all of these hells and excuses and reasonings that keeps us in our hells. And then we just bitch about it. And then we just become this program. But sometimes that comfort zone becomes so uncomfortable that you don't give a fuck about the unknown. It's like, okay, I'm ready for the unknown. I'm ready for it. But how about if you begin to be your true identity and decide that you don't want to just be that. You want to be more than that. You want to be more than just an ego and over-identifying with matter. You want to be more than that paradigm. And spirituality is about that authentic self and operating through your heart and your gut and your higher self. And when you go into that next level, there is a part of you that says, can I do it? We were taught through different paradigms that the unknown is fearful, and the root chakra and the second chakra and the third are like, no, I can't do it. And most of the, I hate to say this, the yin and yang are meant to be in harmonious. And we have explored what it's like to separate them to some degree. Now, one can't survive without the other. But what I mean by that is they took positions, and you have light and you have dark, but you don't have to claim it as evil. That's our thinking. And when you start to stop being ego, you begin to see that the paradigm was that it had to put yin under. And how did it? Well, the yang energy came in and was very much lofty, and we had to feel and find what that meant. And then it created all of these different aspects of ourselves, and women and in particular, just because I'm a woman stance, is that we have to become more self-sufficient. Because if you look through the paradigm, it is that men are supposed to take care of women. And then in some people, you go back further, and it was men were supposed to protect the woman. And why? Because it's not that she needed protected. It's because she's doing all of that other work, and it's sacred. And they were in balance, and then we became out of balance. And there's just all these different dimensional stories. Our soul has journeyed for so long. But getting back to why our shadow self is so important is because it really helps us to understand. So I woke up and it was like, wait, what? So I want ... to be negative? Wait a minute. Did you just say I want my husband to be negative? I want my husband to be negative? Why in the hell would I want my husband to be negative? Spirit says conditioning. I said, please explain. And they go, well, if you are learning and imprinting and looking around and you're observing, this is what an adult does, this is what a male and a female does, this is what relationships are, this is what siblings are, this is what it's supposed to be, and this is what it, and it's all is conditioning. And I'm like, wait a minute, so they can't show up to you any other way than you let them because of your conditioning. Yes. And then I'm like, oh, wait, whoa. If they showed up differently, I wouldn't be able to recognize them, would I? No, because they are part of your identity. identity. I'm like, oh shit, wait a minute, wait, whoa. You're saying by him being a butthead is because that's part of my identity? Now you're getting it. And I'm like, oh my God, wait, this is just blowing my mind. Spirits, you're just making it more conscious competence. You're getting there, you know. I'm like, okay, I can do this. And so as I'm looking at this, and when I muscle test or use a pendulum, and it was like, well, I want my husband to show up negative. No, but you got to understand, you have to ask with your spiritual self. So in a program, my prediction of my brain, I'm predicting him to be an asshole because that's routine, to broadcast messages, these things that sometimes are very subtle. And these are the programs that they can't show up any other way than we let them. And how do I know this? Like, okay, the experience was this woman, she paid for, or she wanted to have an appointment with me. And it's like, okay. And we just kept hitting and missing. And all of a sudden, what I'll do is I'll transform into the person so that I can really get a handle of what it is their issues are. And, you know, because it's about the mirror, but I will transform. And I transform so deeply that I had to run with it. And that's what I do. And I'm like, okay. And my husband knows this by now. He's like, so he'll pay attention too for me. And so I come running into the room and I'm spitting and sputtering. I'm like, oh my God. You know, I got up, I did this and this and that. And, you know, and now all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's going to be on her turn. Oh, I gotta create boundaries. I'm like, and then all of a sudden it was like, okay, so what did we learn from that? So the person is thinking you're mad at them. And they think that you're going to not like them because of whatever. And Spirit says, oh, but also you are also going to develop how to create boundaries. You know, so that little experience there were so many lessons. I ended up having to hurry up and write stuff down. So then we finally get together, and during the session, about 45 minutes into the session, all of a sudden that subject had to come up. And I said, so do you worry during the time when we couldn't talk, did you worry that I was going to be angry? Oh my God, yes. And did you think that I wasn't going to want to communicate with you? Oh my God, yes. And then she goes on and tells me. And now and it was like, you had to go through the experience so you get it. You literally get it. And it was like, oh, wow, I got it. And then that led up to my healing in the middle of the night. And it's like, so if you watch Spirit, and this is what I want to teach people, is if you watch and learn how to communicate with your higher self and live your authentic self, you can do this. And in spiritual investigation and clues and gem finding. Okay. So my bird, Charlie, and he's a big sulfur crest, yellow sulfur crest. And so anyways, we went to Fiji and we come back. Now he's had an attitude. So he's 10 years old, but he's got a 4-year-old attitude. And he's like wanting to throw a tantrum. Oh, mama, you can't come near me. I'm going to run. So he'll go up and he'll hide. So we had to clean the cage out and stop it so he couldn't get caught up and where we couldn't get him. And I was like, God, I hate to see him get stuck there. So anyway, he's giving me attitude. And as soon as he sees me, he goes, oh, I'm going to die. Oh, you can't touch me. Oh, you know, I was like, seriously. I'm like, okay. So I go out there and I sing to my babies and I'm talking to my babies and I'll do birdie voices. Hello. You know, and I get up to Charlie and he didn't jump. And I thought, okay. So then I said, you give Mom a kisses? He's like, he can play statue really well. I'm like, he will lie because he don't move. He won't blink. He won't do anything. And then all of a sudden I heard, as I went to go in and just go, you know, like that to him, I heard my own freaking thoughts. These are the ones that you don't hear. These are the programs, but you have to train yourself to hear them. Was, I don't want him to get too needy. And then I saw the flash of, and this is where the brain predicts that if he did love me so much, then he couldn't live without me. And then I wouldn't be able to do my job, because then I would be so having to change my identity and have to take care of a needy child or a needy attention. And that can be anybody's age or range. And it's like, then they're going to throw fits if they can't get that. And it's like, holy shit. And all of a sudden I could feel the program inside of me was, that's why my kids won't get on and do video. It's not because they're just afraid. It's just that I'm projecting out and they have to show up that way. And it's like, oh my God, I make people, in my mind as a ego person, is why don't people love me? Or why is it that I just can't seem to get connected to my kids or my loved ones, which I do have connection with my kids. I just want them to get on video so I can see what they look like. Now that's the ego. And then you have to get really real with your shadow self. And the shadow self says, do you remember when you were younger? There's a part of you that just wanted to stop taking care of people. And I took care of my mother for 4 years. She was dying of cancer, and it got intense, but I lost my identity. And it was so hard to find my identity because the old part of me she stopped existing. And then I'm thankful that I lost my identities, but I have to learn how to carve out a new one. And that's where most of you are stuck, because you don't know how to carve a new one or to even find an old one. You don't even know what you're doing. And that's part of what I'm teaching. But I was like, holy fuck, I have to actually get real with these emotions. And if I let anybody know, are they going to use it against me? And it's like Spirit goes, is that love or fear? I said, shit, it's fear. And the Spirit says, okay. So then I had, my back was killing me this morning. So I woke up and I thought, what point do I rub? Spirit goes, no, we're not going to rub any points. I said, what? Because you can work on the acupuncture points and then you can make your pain, sickness, and things go away. And it says, why not? Why can't I? Are you throwing a tantrum? Yes. So I'm not quite awake. And then Spirit says, I want the pain because. And I said, but I don't. And then Spirit says, I want the pain because. And I says, I want the pain because then I'd get my ass out of bed. Wait, what? And then I had a memory that I was depressed. And I remember before I got pregnant, I couldn't get out of bed. I just couldn't function. I couldn't live. This is before really pre-tools, And then I remember that in order to get out of bed, now the bathroom's down the stairs and around the corner, and you have to really freaking wake up in order to do all this maze. And my body then developed pain. So I would get my ass out of bed. So I would get myself out of the mood. So I'd get out of the emotion. Everything goes back to emotion, just to let you know. So it was, I want the pain. And then I remember working on several clients, and one of them stands out like a sore thumb. And she believed that her periods had to be so painful, or different things had to be so painful in her body. And that was her warning that things were functioning, because she wanted kids so bad. And then I had this other client that, as we're healing, I said, oh, you want to keep this because this pain's serving you. No, it's not. And I said, just listen. And so then we listened a little bit more, and it came to mind that she wanted the pain so that she knew she was alive. I thought, son of a bitch, we need certain things for our DNA to express a certain way. And group consciousness, kids and everybody will get sick because that's what's out there in the paradigm. And that's what's supposed to happen when you go on trips or this and that. And so your meridians will start to form into that energy. This is what it's supposed to be. I was like, oh shit. So so when you really are getting ready to decide if you want to get better, you have got to decide, is it serving you? I mean, I didn't even freaking know that I want to get closer to Charlie, but I can't get close to Charlie because he gives me attitude. And then I'm thinking, well, what am I got to be putting something off for these birds to act this way to me? And I finally saw it. I finally saw the shadow. The shadow was that if I let them get too close to me, I'm going to lose myself. I'm going to lose my identity. I'm going to lose my sanity. Because I'm going to have to constantly take care, and then it'd be needy, and it's the crying and the squeaky wheel. I grew up with squeaky wheels, and I never got the attention. And for the first time, I feel happy because I'm not taking and waiting hand and foot 24/7 on somebody or something. And I just shit. And it's coming real with yourself. It's taking what's unconscious and incompetent, which they call fate, and making it conscious, competent, and learning how to shift to the next level. So I don't have to be a novice. I can begin to learn. And then I can begin to learn. And I can learn to master my own self. Okay? That's interesting. I was just reading some comments because Spirit just, Spirit says, I want the shadow self can be what just your reactions. When you think of your reaction, maybe your shadow self got born. Like people that are worriers, and they can't get rid of the worry, and they have to have bad stuff happen so they can establish that's their identity. But these things can all be healed into change. You know, like the phrase, I have to let them be in charge, because if I don't, they're going to throw a tantrum. Or I have to let them be in charge because I don't want to be self-sufficient. I mean, that's part of the old paradigm, that you were supposed to not be self-sufficient, and you're supposed to rely on this, and you're supposed to do this. And so some of us never got to learn how to get past the old paradigm. It just wasn't the fact that the mother and father was bad. It had nothing to do with that. It was the paradigm that the soul needed to address. And there's addictions. We are addicted to. When you asked a true addiction, a person that's addicted to drugs and all of that, they'll, what's your problem? And they'll say drugs. No. What's your problem? That's a symptom. That's your resolution or solution to the issue. And it always usually relates back to a trauma and a drama and emotion. And we are addicted to emotions, those chemical peptides. We're addicted to them. So if you feel that you're, out of 100% and you're supposed to get your quotient is 80% to worry today, I've only done 40, then that means that you'll have to come up with something or send the energy out, so you'll attract somebody in to give you something, or the news, and then you're like, and then you're worrying, and then you feel that quotient. It's that addiction quotient. And and that's why the resolution tools are so important, because then you get to tap them out and change them. Okay. There's so much more. There's so much more that Spirit wants people to see and to get. But they're saying, we're done. I mean, the 33 minutes of actually talking, because there's just an agreement we have. Natasha says, I never thought of color as in seeing but feeling, but being essential. I did a group meditation. I've seen what they're seeing, lots of color. But do we see color or feel colors? We do everything. We can smell colors. Our sensory system. Just remember, everything and all things are possible. You have a sensory system. You can know color without seeing it or feeling it. No, you can know color. And you're an amazing being. And if you can remember, you can taste and smell color. I mean, you are an amazing being. It depends on which, I know that I smell is one of my main things, is that I can, it's part of our nature as a child, a baby, to smell for milk, and then where the milk factory is, and they even put newborns on top of a mama, and the baby that they thought couldn't move started to wiggle enough to find where that nipple was. My husband that I'm married to now, 10,000 miles apart, there's a part of me, I'd always catch myself going when I thought of him, and I realized I am not sniffing, but I am connecting on the nose. I'm connecting through the nose, and the way that the oil factory, the way that frequencies are, I'm smelling that frequency, and it smells right. So, like, I will see smells as color, or I will see smells as shapes. When it comes to like your vision, you may not think that you have pictures, but you can even picture what a tree looks like, or even a maple tree. You don't realize, but that's how the brain speaks. And the brain, and there's so much I could talk to you about the brain, because the brain and all of these things that we talked about, we do it on association. And, like when somebody says George, I have to say curious. So, our brain does associations. Excuse me. Okay, I'm just going through real quick. When you have ascension symptoms, I have also been dreaming of the number of sequences. Okay, if you have ascension symptoms, understand you have to readjust your frequency. And each person is individually different. Like, if our nervous system can only handle so much love at a time. And the more traumas and dramas you have, the more it's occupying the space up in the nervous system. And so then it forms the DNA and its expression, and the nervous system and the way the brain communicates all says, "Ooh, you're supposed to be like this." So when you have an ascension, the energy frequency is rising, then that you are like fine tuning like a radio. And if you don't start to let go of some of your issues, then it can be very uncomfortable. Just like when you're Kundalini awakening, your body and your life can get effed up, because you're not letting go of particular patterns and emotions and issues. And so the fastest way to take care of an ascension issue is to say, "Oh, I feel like shit today." Well, you got to understand what's the message that your body is telling you. Do you feel off? Do you need to go and do Wayne Cook posture to get your brain balanced? Do you need to balance the cortis in order to get your brain balanced? Do you need to get your spinal flush so that the fluids and the nerves can communicate properly with the body in order for your brain to wake up? Do you need to be able to just start tapping on certain meridian points so that, you can flip it and say, "I don't have to fight against the new energy coming in." So and that's where I would learn muscle testing, and I would use pendulums, and I want to teach all these things to you guys. And then I would teach you how to do source points, and you then would like, "Oh, I got a headache. Okay, what is it?" And then the body would tell you, and then you just like got to rub a couple points, and then it spins the energy on the meridian wheel in our body. So it helps us reset the circadian rhythms so that you don't have to feel less than. And sometimes you need to do connecting heaven and earth and Celtic weave, and you need to do the hookup so that you don't pick up other people's ascension issues, or that you have to transform to show up the way they want or expect of you to show up. The ascension thing is very important. So if you are an empath, but you don't quite understand how to observe instead of absorb, then you're going to have more ascension symptoms. And so a very specific read, if you know what symptoms you're having, or if you are having them, are they truly ascension symptoms? What is your body trying to tell you? What is your soul trying to tell you? And there's a story, there's a communication. And it's all about information, and it's in dimensions and planes, and it sounds complicated, but I've learned how to read them. Well, Diana, we're going to have to figure out how to get your ass in here, because it's when you lose that identity. And again, this is where maybe I should do a class, Diana, because I've lost my identity at least 3 times. Oh my God, it's the nastiest ass feeling in the world, because you can't feel your roots. You can't feel, and you don't know where you're going. And you can't connect to the old you, and you can't connect to any of the people. And you don't know how to go into that unknown, because you've been trained for so long that you got to be afraid of it. And and most of the people that are coming to me lately I have to stop and say, we have to exercise this muscle, because you're not used to doing it. Your brain grows by fear and association and surprises. And this is, hell. Okay. But you already are growing. You said that, I would never have driven across country by myself, but I had to. And I said, did you survive? Oh, yeah. Was there any problems? No, it was good. Oh, so the thing is that if you begin to do self-imposed limitations and you don't ever cross them, you're never going to grow. But as you begin to have that trust and faith, which you got to develop, and when you begin to look at saying, I'm done with this particle, you have a wave and a particle, the particle of, I have to be in hell, and I'm letting go and releasing that, and I'm reaching into the field, and I'm going to pull in with grace and ease, love and hope and joy, and whatever it is. But there's a part of you that knows, I'm supposed to move over here, or I'm supposed to be happy, and that's your big ball of where your enjoyment is. It's calling you. Okay, but you keep resisting because you think that I can't do this. You have the old paradigm that you can't be self-regulatory with your emotions, or that you can't be self-sufficient, or you can't do this without having another person. And then those fears can be freaking real, because they turn into phobias. You're addicted to emotions. You need to change that. But when you're growing and finding who you are, that can be very fun, because let me tell you, for the first time in my life, I get to sculpt myself. And that is, what do I like about me? I have no clue. Well, it's about damn time I find out. Sometimes my humor gets me. I'm laughing by myself. I don't care. It's joy. Amy got to see me in a whole different mood today. It was like, wow, just happy, la, 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 la. And that's part of who I am. Okay. And here, if you really want to know who you are, all right, get ready for the shocker. The aspect of you, the aspect of you, the aspect of you. Oh, what I don't like about a person, that's me. And what I like about the person, that's me. But the one thing about what I don't like about a person, and that's me, people say, well, I'm not a thief. Well, I'm not saying you are. You have energy that is misplaced over there. And it has some form of either I'm afraid to become that, or I don't want to be accused of that, or that's the wrong thing to be, or it doesn't mean that you are that. It just means that you are in a form of reflection, and that you need to heal how you have attached to that to some form. You may have no tolerance for that. Okay, you have to heal I have no tolerance for that. It doesn't mean you're going to become that. You transform into somebody else. Okay. Now, it can be a little scary, but this is where you learn to use tools and to learn how to look spiritually and investigate and look at synchronicities and numbers and manifesting. And you look at, it's like you have to get out of your head and you have to get in your heart. So you have to have both of those to operate to get your manifesting. But you have to become real with yourself, because in your head you're thinking, but in your heart you're like, it's not safe. Not my first and third and second chakra go, not yet, yeah, because I still think there's some fear. But your body's consciousness knows you way better than you know yourself. So you teach how to change that. I did something that was wrong at work. I didn't want to face it. So I was going to punch out and leave. I heard, how are you supposed to grow if you don't face it? So I went to the boss and faced it and said, it's my ego. And he that wants to leave. Good job. That can be so tough when you have to meet up with that emotion and that ego. And your first thing to do is the first, second, and third chakra is stress, run, fight, flight, flee, ah! And your spirit is saying, stop. You don't have to predict the worst. Sometimes you can own up to the fact is this just happened and I'm not sure exactly how or why, but it needs to be resolved. And and then start trusting. It's an amazing feeling. It may feel uncomfortable, but it's an amazing feeling. Well, good job, LaRonda. It's a good thing that you did. I have no idea. I know there's supposed to be a time difference. Soon we'll be going forward. You'll be falling back. And I can't remember when any of that happens. Sarah, you could be a Kundalini awakening. And that's the hard part is that if you're not ready to let that light in, it's because of those issues need to be resolved. So let me just finish going through these a little bit. That's the best thing, Tiffany Dawn. She goes, I don't know who I am anymore. I am not who I was 3 years ago. Yay! Hopefully you've grown, right? I always tell people you don't compare yourself to me. I'm your catalog. Don't compare yourself to your neighbor. That's a catalog. Good or bad, doesn't matter. The point is that I'm beginning to find out myself. I'd like to learn a little bit more about that. And I know I don't want to do that anymore. And okay, so let's see if I've grown. I have learned, and this is why you write stuff down. Oh, I want to learn about spirituality. Oh, okay. What does that even mean? Oh, maybe I need to listen to Brenda. Okay, so maybe that's something you need to do. But it's been on your calendar for 6 months and you haven't done it. No, you need to decide and put yourself in your own schedule. What am I going to do today to get to the goal that I have wrote down to find myself? Sometimes your heart's not in it. And guess what? You go and heal that shit. And you look, and I will go and I'll look. Am I different than I was yesterday? Am I different than I was 6 months ago? Am I different by my birthday? Am I different from 5 years ago? Am I different? And you'll be so surprised at how much you've grown. And you'll be and then you learn how to receive achievement. Oh, you learn how to give yourself own accolades. It's not the same spiritually. You have to go, I'm so vain. No. And you're going to get to that certain point that you're going to go, amazing. I've really grown. And you got to learn to witness and accept so that you can graduate. Because if you don't learn to witness and accept on any of the stuff, then you're just going to go back to repeat hell. But if you learn and accept and you grow, you get to graduate and you get more. See, so then when people, oh, wonderful, Angela. She says, you've been instrumental in my journey towards finding the me I lost when I was 5. And see, that's the thing. And then when you begin to have these bits of, it's not the same psychic experience. It's not, predict my future. And it's connecting the dots, getting the information, resolving it. Now, a lot of people will just get information. That's nothing wrong with that. But if you could take the next step further and use the healing tools, the resolving tools to go along with that information, you can go, oh my God, I don't have to use my excuses and the reasonings and repeat. I can actually push stop or pause. I can be done repeating. And a lot of people, when they get done with their healing, are like, where did it go? And I say, you want it back? Oh, no. And if you're feeling dizzy, I mean, it's like, for instance, in her mind, it is, she says, would love some advice. Don't deal with stress very well. Dizzy all the time. What's wrong with me? Okay, let me just put this down. If I'm looking, Spirit says, there deep down, there's a contempt going on inside of you. Now, if I were to look a little bit further, what meridians are causing the dizziness? Okay, they said that the central meridian, this one that goes up to the chin, is clogged. It's not moving. It's stagnant. It's yellow, so that means it's probably the third chakra. It's a little bit of orange. It doesn't know how to relate. It can't allow pleasure in. And so then if I go and they say your spleen is running backwards. Okay, I would tell you to trace spleen. I would have you rub the spleen point, spleen 3 on your foot. And no, you don't need a magnet, but I would help you understand that you got to get the energy to boom, zing around the wheel so it feeds all the rest of the meridians. You're tired. You're tired of living through other people's shit. It's like you're doing this pattern and you're like, I can't do this anymore. So you're kind of under pressure, and you have these, this is my reaction. I need to behave. I need to be perfect. I need to do this or I need to do that. But that's what under pressure is about. When you finally can stop that identity, find your true identity, you, oh God, I know you guys remember the movie I'm talking about. It's got, Galactus, and I can't ever say his name, but it's this young boy that goes into a funny thing happened. A funny little thing happened. A funny thing happened. Anyways, he goes into a psych ward, and the younger group's gone, so he gets stuck with some older folks, and he learns to, hey, you mean I can, do art? No, I don't do that. Well, it opened him up. Sing? I don't do that. And he sings under pressure, And what he discovers is that he doesn't want to be what his father wants him to become. Okay. So your dizziness and your stress is that yes, you're under a lot of stress, but you have to look at the word contempt. I mean, that energy is just vibrating and it's causing a whole lot of shit happening right now. And you could have contempt, somebody could have contempt for you, but the subject is, it's about putting your energy somewhere that has to do with contempt. You need to change that because it's just going to keep repeating the pattern, and then it's going to become acute to chronic and change into something else. Okay, so how do you let go of the old one to make for a new face? And the thing is it goes back. Now, like I use hope therapy, and what that does is it goes in and to the meridians and the frontal lobe, which is to create reality. And most of the time when you're stressed, you have no blood up here. If you just learn to put your hand up here, think about your stress. Then the blood, you're electromagnetic. So the blood's electromagnetic, your hand is. And then the blood will come up to the forebrain, which creates reality. And for some reason, you'll get reconnected, and then your autonomic nervous system will switch from sympathetic to parasympathetic. And then you're going to think, from a scale from 0 to 10, 10 being, I can begin to deal with this. You stay there a little longer until all of a sudden you're like, okay, I can be creative now. There's so many other wonderful techniques that, if you go to my webpage, it's Medicine Woman, the number 4, the letter u.weebly.com. And you'll see healing tools, and you'll see a whole drop down menu. I mean, there's so many I haven't added yet. Go look up Donna Eden in energy medicine. She's got a whole ton of stuff. You go over to, there's just tons and tons of beautiful healing self-help that helps you get your power back. You need to stop the addiction of the emotion to change yourself, because you want to go back into habit. Your morphogenetic field, that habit field will, look, the subconscious mind that records everything and runs the show goes, it's 2:00. She's not taking a nap. What are we going to do? No, she's being motivated. No. It says procrastination in the program. Okay. Get up there and make her yawn. Oh, she yawns, and then she goes, no. And subconscious mind goes, that didn't work. Okay, make her foggy headed. Quick. Oh God. Can't kind of think. Well, maybe I should take a break. Oh, it's working, guys. Okay. Make her think it's time to take a nap. Oh, and the addiction of the emotions go, oh, maybe a nap would work. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm going to take a nap. Oh, right on cue, guys. Good job, says the subconscious mind. And then you're back into your habit. You're back in the morphogenetic field. And why is my... Hold on. I got to figure out why is my thing not working. No, that didn't work. Yeah. Huh. See, and it's funny because clues... Oh, that wasn't it. The clues that run life. See, my printer or my computer says that the battery's low. And I'm going to look, and they're reading things plugged in that I can see. This is this. Hold on, people. I'm just trying to figure out why all of a sudden. So what's the printer? The printer is the printer. Well, that's kicking on. This is an example. This is how spirit teaches me. I'm just told you about how the brain gets tired. And now my battery in my laptop is deciding it's not going to play and it's going to die. So I'm going to unplug it and plug it back in. And we don't have liftoff. So we go back to the points and we click these in and so it's the little thingy on the floor. So it's about connections, people. It's about connection. So somebody is disconnected. I didn't even talk about disconnections. Good point. Sometimes by rubbing your certain points makes the connection. Sometimes you having to put your spirit back in your body, or connecting your brain to your spirit, or your spirit to your organs. There's disconnections galore. You talk about tools. When people come in, I have to check all these things. And in how would your spirit be dislodged from the body? Or I should say, the communication process is not connecting properly is because it's usually addictions and emotions to addictions, whatever. The point is, it's in emotions and that vibration of the emotions that cause that. Nicole Bangs, here's the thing. Your circadian rhythms are completely off from what I can see. And so then you go into what's HORARY, hora chart, and you'll see a clock that says 3 p.m. and 3 to 5 p.m. and 3 to 5 a.m. Okay. Then what you do, if you're not awake at a.m., then do it at p.m. You rub both points, and those will be two different meridians, but you have to rub both sides of the body. Hands or feet, wherever it is. And you do that during that 2-hour period. So every 2 hours is a new meridian. So then you're like, 5 to 7. And it's usually 5 to 7 a.m. is large intestine, and 5 to 7 a.m. at night is kidney. And you're like, okay, well, I'm not awake in the morning, but I'm awake in the evening. Fine. You tap those points, large intestine and kidneys at the knees. They'll show you the points. And you do this, and what will happen is your circadian rhythms will start, I'm being paid attention to. The connections are back online, and you will begin to breathe and sleep better. Okay. So DVJ says, I'm not able to let go of connection. I have moved out from a location physically, but my mind sometimes works on it. It is still in a past life connection. And why am I not able to leave it? Okay, first of all, it's an addiction. Okay, like let's just do physically. When I left Michigan, you have to have closure to certain experiences, accidents. Okay, if you had been, let's say, in a car accident and you survived, that trauma, you will leave a certain amount of residue there. Okay. By moving away, you will leave a certain amount of residue there. You literally need to call yourself back to yourself. It's not a hard process, but you have to do it. And how do you do it? You put it on a scale from 0 to 10, 10 being, oh my God, I know I'm not myself. And oh, this incident, oh God, yeah. And so then you sit there, and a lot of times I will have you walk through hope therapy and go boom, boom, boom. But you're going to do it yourself. Put your hand on your head. Put it on a scale from 0 to 10, think it through. And then all of a sudden, your body and your rhythm and your brain and your nervous system starts to work in more harmony. If you have an emotion, then you need to tap out the emotion or use hope therapy to take that negative emotion out. So she goes, I'm always under fear that it will shadow me and I'll be unhappy and heartbroken again. Now, here's an interesting thing. It's a program. I'm going to tell you how far of a program it is. So somebody I know of a younger generation was afraid of themselves. They thought, oh, I'm going to hurt myself. They kind of got scared of their own self. I mean, they're like, oh, and they just don't know how to cope, handle, and deal with that. And so I'm working on them. I said, oh, and it went back to just a simple incident of overhearing a conversation of somebody that you love, and they're angry, and you're like, oh my God, they could be angry at me. A child will just, your younger self, anybody that's at that age, anywhere from 0 to 7, that you're going to sit there and not think logical or rational like an adult. Half the adults I know don't even do that. But you're going to come up with some interesting connections. So it must be because I was bad, or it must be because of this. And then you go, oh, I don't want that to happen, or I need to punish myself so that I don't get punished. It ends up being very dramatic. But you just said, I don't want to be unhappy or heartbroken again. If you were to do hope therapy, I would say, okay, let's look at where you're unhappy. And then we can go back to that experience. The first thing that they would tell me is that you need to look, your stomach meridians, like all you do is focus on high beta of worry. And so your brain sits there and predicts, now it's going to happen again. It's going to run to the end of your timeline, happen again. And it's like, oh, but I know this. And you can't stop thinking about the whole event because you're trying to cope, handle, and deal. That is what you're trying. That's coping, but it's not handling because it's ego. Okay. So then you end up storing it after a while, and then it becomes an issue. You need to heal out worry. You need to heal out that negative emotion so that you can transform your brain so it stops predicting. Okay. And that means you have to probably remove the pictures or the sensory system of all the way that you've got it hooked in. That's what my job's for. Let's see. And you have to stop believing that your energy is being misplaced and put into, I don't want this to happen again. Your heart puts a wall up, and it's like your first 3 chakras are like, oh, we see something bad happen and we got to protect ourselves. And the ego says, I'll protect you. And no, it doesn't. Okay. There's a lot of things you can do so that you can actually evolve past that. That's what your soul wants you to do. You will hear Tiffany Dunn says, is it possible to hear your spiritual guides audibly eventually or not? If you're talking about audibly, like I am talking about now, you got to remember one thing, all things are possible. 2, we are not equipped to have, like my eyes have certain amount of rods and cones that can only see a certain frequency. So does our ears. And if you are expecting this to happen, sometimes it will. But a lot of times you have to use your inner sensory system in order to be able to hear them audibly. Okay. And that has no bounds. I mean, you can create pictures and you can have this happen. Esther Hicks leaves her body completely and they just come in. You have Jay-Z Knight that basically she goes brain dead, and then she then in the form of, how to say it, she's possessed to some degree of this Ramtha entity, but the body's completely has come in agreement with these two, and so she stops beaming in and he beams in, and then after he's done, he beams out, she beams in, and then the body's like, okay, Again, anything and all things are possible, but you've got to also understand that if you don't quite understand this, you're going to always run up against blocks. So if you start to develop on a spiritual level a little bit deeper, you are going to go and allow yourself to really advance, because you're going to develop that frequency. You're going to tune it in just right. Boom. And then you'll have it. You're building that muscle. You learn the channel, and you're going to do it just fine. And also, if you Devic J, when you think about it, if you don't heal your shit, you're going to have worse than the first, which means you're carrying your baggage, and then you're going to, and no matter where you move, no matter what you do, no matter what happens, you're going to have to unpack that program and redo it again, because you are the same person you were the day before, and you have the same amount of thoughts as the day before, unless you learn how to heal and move into the direction of creating new thoughts and new things. Yeah, you can change. And then Kimberly Edick says, oh my, the repeat cycle. I was married to a narcissist for 17 years. Oh, fun, isn't it? Got away from him and he was doing well, got really strong. 2 years later, I met another, even worse, worse than the first one. 3.5 later, I'm starting over again. Feel even weaker than before. Needed to learn not to continue this crazy. Okay, so here's simply put. Can you tell the symptoms of a narcissist? Sometimes you have to re-educate yourself. Sometimes you have to go in and you have to stop those programs that, oh my God, I got to let them be controlling because that's what I expected as a condition and as a child. Well, heal the issue and the condition of the child, and it changes your world, and your outer world stops creating these narcissists. Literally learns to unplug. There's other healing tools that you can do that actually changes the entanglement cord so they don't have to come into your space. But you still have to learn your lesson that maybe you need to be more self-efficient, or that you don't need to fall for certain things. Everybody is completely individual, but you can choose to understand what emotions or that would create this person to appear. And how you do that, you just say, okay, here's this person. I've seen this before as a child. Who is it? My mother, my father, my brother, my uncle, who was there? And it's not about blame. Oh, God. Oh, yes. I've seen this pattern before. Oh my God. And seeing you had to grow up with it, and you're forced to live with it, and you had to do this. But the thing is that you developed reactions and coping tools to get along with this particular space. And you have, and then there's traumas and dramas that lock it in. You start to break those down and reclaim your energy. You'd be amazed at how much stronger you go. I'm all about empowerment. I'm all about empowerment. Parasympathetic is the rest and digest, and the sympathetic is the fight and flight. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of people, if you just grab the side here, the rib cage there, and grab your elbow, this is the spleen, and this is a triple warmer, and this is the triple warmer smoothie. And you can literally just hold these. And you hold it for a few minutes, and it can rebalance you. And you have to do both sides. Putting your hand over your heart and just simply will help create a calming down of your, and especially if you tap right here, you're hitting triple warmer and you're helping over the heart, and you are changing that sympathetic and to parasympathetic. And even if you take 2 tennis balls and put it in a sock, you put it back there and you lay on it, you can create a still point, and then all of a sudden your body just starts to relax. My daughter learned a long time ago that if she just takes and touches my hair ever so slightly, the nerve endings cause me to, my brain thoughts, my nerve endings, my autonomic nervous system goes, and then all of a sudden I start to breathe differently. Some people have done it where they touch their lips, to calm them down, and you'll find that they're in breathing. I mean, the biggest one I tell people to do is you take nice deep breath in, you let it all out, and then you suck in and you hold. That's the third chakra. This is your power center. And if you hold it in, not talk, and then let it out, and you do that 3 or 4 times, you help reset the what's the nerve? It's the vagus nerve, which then helps set the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. Lots we can do here. The middle meridian is the central meridian, or the conception vessel, if you were to look into meridians. Let's see. Gotcha. When it comes to different strategies, everybody has a strategy to go to the bathroom, a strategy. You have got to decide if you believe that the only way to be happy is that you have to go through hell first. That's a strategy. You can disrupt those strategy points. I had somebody that was mixed matched. I mean, they constantly, as soon as I said had something happy, they had to be something negative. And as soon as I said something negative, they said something happy. And it's like, but that was my inner world. I expected them to show up that way. So I healed my inner world. Guess what happened to them? They disappeared. But in other cases, people have come to me and I've taught them how to disrupt that pattern so they don't have to give that automatic response. And there's a lot you can do. All right. Now, I haven't, Spirit wanted me to get on and just talk and to chat, but then Spirit says, now I can ask. If you guys want a reading, you can pay through PayPal and we can do what's called 1111, which is 11 minutes for $11, or you can go $7 for 6 minutes. And you can do that if you want. I'm going to do 1 minute reads, and let me just get over here to turn this on. And guess what? I did not bring my iPad in. I guess I will not be taking any live calls today. Normally people can call in and you can hear it and heal it and you'll be amazed at how well you get to where you need to go. Hit enter. Now, for the 1 minute reads, if you start to, Patricia's got it, and Nicole's got it, and you, Nicole, you got a little backwards. It's MWB. It's hashtag MWB, the number 4, me, but you're close there. And what you do is you put that hashtag in, MWB, so that's Brenda Medicine Woman, the number 4, me. And you space, and then you tell me what you want me to look at. Okay. So let me look. And you get only 1 minute read. And then if you can, this is where you would go and share it into groups and other places that you think would benefit getting to know me by readings. No, we'll click that off, which is where there's a minute. And you think a minute's not going to be enough, but you'd be surprised. Oops, let's turn it on correctly. All right. Barely see the screen. That means they're really, well, I can tell you abandonment issues. You just start healing the addiction to abandonment, the feeling what abandonment is, and you change that story, you change the belief, you change the way that you think, and then you start getting miracles. Where in the, okay, there, I see the first one. Wendy Reynolds. Okay, so attacked. You feel attacked? So they're showing me that you feel attacked, and sometimes you'll attack. Sometimes you'll attack and you won't even know you're doing it. But other people say, well, why are you attacking me? But what it is that you have a vibration of feeling attacked, stuck. it's stuck and it's affecting the stomach meridian completely. And the main thing of when you feel attacked is when people make you irrelevant. You know, you let's say you have a good idea and then somebody comes in and takes over and you're like, what? Well, that energy that's stuck there not only affects you physically, but it also sends energy out so that people will do that to you. Okay. I would definitely say that if you were to look at how to heal it out would be to, even though, I mean, if you want EFT, even though I feel attacked, I deeply and completely love this about myself. And you can change that particular pattern. Nicole Bangs. Your triple warmer is going off. And that means your fight, flight, freeze. And because awkwardness, as soon as you start to feel awkward. And the awkward is a very, very old pattern because they said at 1 year old, you felt awkward because you seen somebody express themselves in a very negative, violent manner. You know, yelling to a child of violent can be just yelling, but it shocked you so much that you felt awkward. So you weren't sure and I don't know if you developed a stutter or if you're not sure how to talk around certain people. Like I can see really fluently talking to people here, but then when people carry that signature you have issues with, you don't quite feel confident or anything. It's like I'm trying to even talk now, okay? And it says that awkward, so I would heal out awkward. You can do it your way, or you can make an appointment with me and we can do it, you know, but because you're awkward creates a repulsion. So that means your compatibility is a +8, which means you may have trouble dating. You may have trouble having friendship because when your compatibility number goes down, then it can never go back up until you heal this point, which means then you're going to constantly make people like be there and then leave you, sort of stuff. Brenda Climo. Oh, what do you see for me? Okay, so here's an interesting part. You are aware when people start to panic, okay? And you're aware of this before they are and you are. And then what happens to you is that it's a clue for you that you need to start being really confused. All of a sudden the energy of being confused in your head and you're like, oh God, I feel confused all of a sudden. This is what your 3-year-old reaction was. This is what your 3-year-old developed. And this is what, anytime there was panic, this is what your body did. So as an adult, it still does this. And what happens is that it's hard for you to take a certain amount of action. And then you've learned over time to take a certain amount of action, but at the same time, it plagues you. And it does change the compatibility of people. You also have a +8. Oh. So, Tiffany Dawn, why do you have the dreams that you have? Oops, shit. Why do you have them? The Spirit says the reason you have them is because you have to deal with the issue of unworthy. It's unworthy to serve. You're unworthy. I mean, they're showing you the kaleidoscope of many different beliefs from what I can hear of certain to do with unworthy. But if there's any belief that such is true, that unworthy is true, and you may not believe it in yourself, the point is that why do you make yourself less than and make your energy contract in a habit? They're saying that you don't realize that's an arrested development. I mean, you can't seem to think or move forward in a certain thing, and you're thinking, oh, okay, that's just not for me. No, you had an issue when you were 2, and that caused you to have the symptom of kind of pulling your energy away. And when you do that, it creates a cascade of things, and then you're like, oh. And you kind of repeat a particular pattern. I would say you need to disrupt that, heal that, and move on from that. Rachel Rara. Energy and trauma. Okay, so anger and disappointment is called bitterness. And the bitterness that sits there is that people seem to throw that shit at you, and you're like a magnet. Ding, ding, ding. It gets stuck. And you're like, fuck. And so at 3 years old, there's a party that you have an empath ability that you don't even know. And when you understand what an empath does is that it resonates and it picks up and understands a story. But when you are not knowing how to handle being an empath, then you absorb it. And the problem with that is it causes a whole heap of issues with you. And not because it's such a habit, then it feels like a very traumatic event, and that you feel like this gift is an evil gift because you don't know what to do with it. And they said that you feel wiped out most of the time. It sucks your energy out because your body, your energy is like going, no, not me again. So I would definitely want to heal that out. Wendy Reynolds, what are you saying? She says, is mine showing up? I sent it first. No, the timing on the screen, it depends on where you're coming from when it comes to that. So even though you may think you sent it, the algorithms made it show up, whatever. And then there's usually about 30 seconds to 45-second delay, a long freaking delay, by the way. So by the time I speak, there's that delay. And by the time you answer, there's that delay. So it's hard. No, I wish that I had the iPad AIM. If I have to go get it, I'll go get it. Spirit, did I bring it in? No. Anyways, Wendy Reynolds. I feel lost. I feel like you're looking and you can't see something. It's like a pattern. It's like you're looking for it. God, I gotta look for this and I can't find it. Jesus, every time I can spend so much time working on this, you're looking at, I don't know. It's going back and forth. And the spirit says that's actually a symptom. This is a very symptom because it ends up being your story and your identity, but it becomes a symptom because the energy of the space spins you out. And usually it's the energy in the environment that somehow gets to dictate how you're supposed to think and feel. And I ask, well, why is that? And it says you suppress something and you feel depleted by it. And what did you, at 2 years old, you suppressed some invading energies. And so there's a part of you that's looking to make sure you never have it again. So when you're looking for danger. And so that's what your body's doing. How interesting with yours. That's really interesting. That is very interesting. Anyway, Diana. Okay, what's interesting is that you have an image of something betraying you, but the thing is that it's not the actual thinking or what it is. But what you're looking for is what's it say? Acknowledgement. So you're getting confused about a behavior that you saw as a child that you then feel like you betrayed, but at the same time, there's a part of you that was looking for acknowledgement. So you've got two conflicts, and it sounds like more than that, about three things. And so they're all trying to communicate, and it doesn't make sense because it sounds like a confusion in your head. I want you to call your energy back to you and say, this isn't true. This isn't true. Even if it may be true, I want you to go back and just say, this isn't true. And you're going to look at the color and give it a number because that's right brain, left brain. And you're going to start pulling back your energy. And if you feel like that's tainted, fine. Put it through a purple heart and a violet flame. Call in Saint Michael, your Archangel Michael, and you're just going to start pulling it in. Because there's a chunk of you that's needs to be ready. It's ready. It's ready to come in. Oh, Brenda, yes, victory. Okay, I hope you're doing well. God bless it. I hate when my eyesight goes. Okay, so I'm just going to address Allison Rowland. You got to understand. You want to know if he's cheating, and thing is that why is your soul having this issue come out? You saw it happen at one, not your relationship, but you saw that this is what men do. Okay. You got to understand that you have to resolve issues in the past. And so there's a part of you that believes it's going to have to happen to you. But I will also tell you that your soul is saying you're not in the right place. You're meant to be in a better, happier, healthier place, but you don't want to let go of this because you think this is what you deserve. And you are so much worth. And I feel like you're doing for others and doing for others, that there's a part of you that is missing out on you. This is what I see. And the thing is if he's cheating on you, he's supposed to, so that you will actually get your shit moving. You're supposed to have a bitch slap. I'm sorry. I mean, it's like I'm supposed to move. So has he really done it? In your mind, you've already did that. You've already said, this is true. And again, you're going to make certain things come to pass, even if it's not. The point is you said it's true. But the thing is why are you waiting for it to be true to move? There's something else going on deeper inside of you, Allison Rollins. Angela Harris. What does Spirit want me to know or work on? Well, you're not doing too bad, but your head seems to be cloudy. It's about self-abuse. You have a certain amount of quota that you have to do. And they said at 2 years old, you didn't know how to respond to something in your environment. You thought you caused it. Therefore, you thought, well, I got to correct myself. And so you took and turned it upon yourself, and you became your own worst enemy. And you have done this for a long time, because they're saying it's a habit. And every time you go to take action, you have to stop yourself. You're going to get in trouble. You have to behave and change that, because that does not work as the adult. That only worked when you were a child. But your body does not know how old you are. It does not care. It just knows it's got a pattern. And you have to give up your happy in order to appease something, to make sure something continuously happens in the correct way. Wendy Reynolds, if you pay in US dollars, what will happen is that you'll get it cheaper, and you pay in if you pay in US dollars, no, that's how you go. That's right. If you pay in US dollars, you're leaving me a tip. If you pay in and you pay the price I'm asking, and it ends up leaving me a tip. Where if you pay in Australian dollars, then I get no tip. You're just paying the price. But because you're in the US, you should get it cheaper. That link should make it so that you just type it in, and then you should be able to have no problem with that. Thank you, Amy. Okay, see now, Tiffany, it's about crystals. So if you gave me more insight, I would have been able to do that. So why didn't it come through? It did, Ames. I found it. Okay, so Amy is paid. Let me just see where I'm at. Yes, Brenda, you missed yours. Shoot, we know it's after 111 and 1 to 27. It's in between there somewhere. Thank you, Angela. You can always do replay, sweetie. See, she just said it. So I'm trying to catch up with all of these things real quick. Yes, just sorry to watch and replay. There comes another one. All right, I'm going to have to go get that iPad real quick. Okay. Oh my God, this is true. Oh, good. Okay, so 2 seconds. I really don't like to do this, but again, Spirit says get on, and Amy got to see that I was all over the place. So thank you, Spirit, for helping me remember where I put my iPad, because that'd be great. Thank you. All right, off I go. I'm going to go look. Looky. Thank you, Spirit. I had no idea where it was at. I found it. Plug it in so that it don't die. And we have connection. Oh, Shoot, got to turn it on first. Now, some of you can call in if you're friends with me through my personal page, Brenda Power. I think it was the black shirt. Then you will see, because I got two friends account. Then you can call me through Instant Messenger. Okay, there. Finally, it's turned on. Now we're gonna have to wait for it to go dee 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 dee, all the incoming messages and stuff. So I will continue to do any 1 minute reads, and then once that's ready to go, then Amy will be first for her 11 minute, and then after Amy will be Wendy. Okay? Did it. Yeah, it came through just fine. All right. Let me see where I'm at. Yeah, please. While I'm doing the 1 minute reads, yes, please put me in other groups, put me on your page. To get the message out there, you're helping spirit to get its message across about the fact is that you don't have to have mental illness, you don't have to have physical illness or emotional thing. You can learn how to grow, and you can learn how to heal, and you can learn how to be. So Ursula Keel, Cleal. I would like to be grateful to receive any insight you can to provide. Oh, that's simple enough. So Ursula, shut up and listen, woman. That's all I heard. Sometimes spirits on the other side tell me that what they're saying is that this is something that you've heard. It's a belief system, and it's a paradigm, and it causes a lot of grief. They said you can't be yourself. So you really have this pattern that's stuck in your head that you can't really be yourself. And so it's an arrested development. You have this point of view that says, oops, that's wrong. That's what you say. It's wrong, even though that's an example of that's wrong. And you're always changing yourself on broadcast messages. So whoever walks in the room, if they think that dinner should be done, you throw shit down and go take care of it. And so you don't even know you're doing it. You're just woo. And this energy is dictating to you how to be. And you just don't know how to be yourself because you're following these resonations about what it is. So Amy, you want to zoom after? That's what you said? Is that what the 11 is? Is that what you're referring to, darling? Yeah, so how this goes is that it, share away. This helps out greatly so that the numbers and you helping spirit, the hashtag MWB, the number for me, and then what you want helps out greatly. Because spirit has a hard time seeing. All I can see is the word elbow under Raven. I'm trying. I really am trying. You had your elbow removed? Ouch. But I can't see the rest of what you're asking. So anyway, Sarah, see now Sarah Bailey's popped up. Yeah. Okay. She said, yes, please. Okay. Sarah. It's Bailey. I'm doing good. I'm just fine. You talking about her or you? Oh, somebody on the other side has passed over and they just want to quickly come in and says, we're all doing good. Your mind drifts and thinking about someone that died or the grief or the loss and some type of a reminder of a movie that made you trigger, but you may not be aware that you're thinking about the dead. But guess what? We're not dead. We're fully alive. So this thing about death, we got to help heal the pain. But there's a little panic. So I feel this panic going off inside of you. What are you telling me? It causes incompatibility to be what? Yourself? Oh, so you're running up against under pressure. So you're running up against a program that says you have to be a certain way. And you're like, fuck no, I don't have to be that. But you don't know you're arguing about yourself. So you have a conflict. And so far, it's just conflict. I don't see who's winning. Okay, Ames, gotcha. So then Wendy's will be next. Wow, you had your elbow. You really did have your elbow removed? I was sequestered for the last year, and my brain all of a sudden said, what? Pamela Rabin, I'm just going to do a reading for you. Okay, you have old school thinking. Old school thinking means that the old paradigm is that you were supposed to, you have people, somehow you were controlled by shame and guilt. And as you begin to, you're starting to shift into more who you are. And as you begin to shift in who you are, you have to actually let go of certain religion, not God, not spirit, not Jesus. Don't let go of that. You have to let go of certain man rules. You're not going to die. You're not going to go to hell. But you know, the more you dive into Jesus, the more you dive into your higher self and God, and you allow yourself into that trusting and having faith and moving in that direction. Whew. And the thing is that the elbow is about, why are you not to be flexible? I wish I knew which elbow it was. But they said that you are meant to live through others. And then there's probably more to the story, which I know there is. Okay, it's done doing its little beep, beep, beep. And that means anybody that wants to, or not anybody, not doing that one yet. Wendy. Miss Wendy. Oh, turn the volume up. Because if she calls, you got to hear it, dear. There we go. And now, so we'll wait for Wendy to call and get on the right screen so you can see your peeps. Oh, I forgot to be here. I'm so sorry, Patricia. Thank goodness. Okay, you still there, girl? If not, I'll tell you. The timestamp is 1:36. Patricia, I'm so sorry. What? You have a wound. Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual wound. It's not my time. What do you mean it's not my time? Are you talking about her? Or are you talking about somebody over here? No, her. Not my time. Okay, tell me more about the spiritual thing. A panic that I'm not getting there fast enough. So are you trying to predict an outcome, expect something, judging yourself? Yeah, stop doing all that. They said that you by doing that, it actually causes a stall on you're developing one of your abilities of sensing when the environment's changing. And the sensing of the environment is that something about barometric pressure. You're supposed to become more aware when the new energy comes into the earth, and that you can actually feel that it doesn't have to be impending doom, but actually good. And somebody, I know the window's not open, but spiritually somebody just opened a window for you, Patricia, that it's about these windows of opportunity. You don't have to always look through the glass. You can actually step through and begin to allow your new ability to come forth. So, Miss Wendy, are you there? Let me just make sure I do this. I got it on. Okay. If you, Spirit is just messing with me. Why is it messing with me? It's making me itch. It's making me forget. It's making, am I picking somebody? I can't even hold the pendulum. I am. I'm mirroring and I'm observing. Does this have to do with my call? Oh, it's frozen. All right, so Wendy, let me look. You have a repulsion thing. So the compatibility is a +6. Oh, gotcha. What? Now it's a +6? Active memory. Tell me the active. Oh, and you haven't taken the tags off. Interesting. What are we doing? Tag. You bought something and you haven't taken the tag off, so you can't really embrace it. So what are you not embracing? Wow. Okay, where are you? A lot of indifferent energy. Tiffany Dawn, have you got your reading? Where are you? I don't even know if you're still here. It could be. I don't know, man. All these things are... all right, help me out, people, because they are really messing with me, because one is about giving and receiving. And let's see. Is the left hand receiving and the right one giving? Wow. Because all of a sudden it was like one or the other. You're completely out of balance. Jesus, are you on medication? Is this that new? Or is that, holy shit. Somebody come ground me. I mean, literally just come onto the screen and give me some insights. Left. Fudge. Peanut butter. Hot dogs. What am I doing? Popcorn. Yes. Okay. So left hand has to do with the right brain. The right brain has to do with the right brain has to do with the left hand. So this is your receiving, and this is your giving. And so then left brain and right hand is the yang, which is about giving. So it's you have got to stop giving so much. So you have to stop giving. No. You have to be more flexible in giving. Oh. Where are you at? You have to stop being in sorrow. I'm not talking about your new self. I meant your old self. So is there addiction process? Show me the emotion. What? You're petrified to being happy. How interesting is that? I wonder, you're really? Really? I'm sorry. My brain is... I'll be darned. I'm so caught up in this thing here. And now my whole screen's gone. Well, if you're having problems creating a connection, you're having problems allowing yourself to be in the space that you're meant to be and understand that there are disconnection issues. And if there's disconnection issues, you may have brain fog. That's a symptom. And sometimes it is that your emotions or your traumas is like, I can't connect, or I'm not supposed to. But one way or the other, all of these happened. And I'm assuming Tiffany Dawn had to leave. Yeah. Isn't that weird? Too many things going on, so somebody is very overwhelmed. That's a good point. Here, I'm going to open that up. Well, Wendy's there. All right. Spirit takeover. Not in the sense of telling me to go there. Spirit can be so funny. I swear. It can be so funny. Really, Diana? Oh, it was really great. She said, I've seen how much you've grown. You should have seen how much studying I've had to do on my vacation. What just happened now? Aha. We have something spiritually doing. So we're going to go Wendy. Wendy. Yeah, my iPad's slower. I got to get some new ones. Yeah, that's why I'm waiting. Oh, see, my brain's not even doing that. Thank you. I'm like frozen. That's what I'm doing. She said she tried calling. It says I can't now. Really? Spirit says that I am unable to connect because, okay, so I'm unable to, no, she's unable to connect. Is there spirit in her body? No. Really? Now we have connection. We have connection, but now mine, okay, hold on. This tells you that I will answer once I find it, but it's not showing up. Isn't that hilarious? I wonder. Hang on, don't hang up. Hey, keep ringing, because we're going to try it another way. Hold on, keep ringing. I know that sounds annoying to some people. Come on, spirit, come on. Make it happen. When you think you can't connect, hang on, you're doing good. Stupid thing. All right, hang up and then give it a few seconds and then recall back because I just opened this one up. Since that's not going to work, I'm going to get this sucker to work. Okay. There's always a back door somewhere. You have to. Guess what? This is okay. Stop calling just for a second because we. Oh. Did it work? Please, spirit. Before we can really go any further, we have to address why there's such a disconnection. And it's not just about computers. It's not just about that. Wendy, can you hear me? I think we're getting the picture, spirit. What's really going on? Wow. Okay. This is funny, people. Wendy, hang in there, dear. We're going to figure this out. See, I almost had you. It's starting to work. All right, spirit, what is it? I'm going to laugh. I am laughing. Now look, I hit answered. Spirit, what do you, okay. Hang in there. Did it work? Yes. Well, no, I hear a heartbeat now. Who is doing that? Okay, that's funny. Okay, don't call yet. We're just going to see this because the spirit is trying to teach now. This is funny. So, spirit, tell us a little bit more. What is it we have to get so we can wave our magic little wand? Oh, who has anxiety? Oh, so you're making a wish come true. I can't connect. I can't get through. There's a resonant program. If this is it, so be it. Okay, if that is it, so be it. So you want me to address this anxiety. You want me to address a little bit more of action. I take action, but something bad happens. What possibly could that be? I don't know. That's it, so be it. Hey, if that's it, if we get connected, that means I have to look up anxiety and something bad's going to happen. Now it's her turn to answer. This is so funny. You think so, Brenda? Hold on. Well, hopefully she'll answer. Okay. Is other people in this causing this? No, but this is an example to you all. An it ended. Now, giving and receiving. Remember I told you it was about giving and receiving? And it wasn't just about one story. So is it in the giving? It's in the receiving. Jeez, here we go again, people. This is so funny. I never have this issue. Please tell me. I've answered, and it says it won't connect. So she goes through so much, and she, no matter how close she gets, it's still not going to work. That is hilarious. I mean, sorry, that's not hilarious. Spirit. Oh, this is. I'm sorry. Oh my stars, this is funny. I have answered. I have changed. Okay, this is going. We're just this, and it failed there because I'm mute. So you'll probably only be able to hear me if I use this one because I have to use the camera, and it won't even use the thing. Did it disconnect my YouTube? No, YouTube's still working.
Hello?
Oh! Do we?
I can hear you.
Okay, so we have to go through a back door just to get to you. This is interesting. Okay, I can hear you. You can't hear me? No, this is too funny, people. She can't hear me.
I'm hearing you double.
Hearing me double. How?
Okay, let me turn the video off.
Okay. Now, you guys able to hear her at all? So she has a huge disconnect somewhere.
Okay.
Do you have anxiety?
I usually don't, but I did actually have anxiety tonight, yes.
Okay. Now, do you always seem to be trying to connect, but you can't?
With spirit, you mean?
With anything in life to some degree.
I feel like I'm on a hold pattern at the moment, or I don't know where I'm going.
Okay, I can tell you, this chaos of not being able to connect in the direct line, and no matter what, I'm not sure how you're managing to come through my laptop when the video and the audio is being used, and it may screw up my YouTube, but we're going to find out. I don't care. We're going to find out. So, this is interesting. Okay, so she's paid people. Oh, now look at that. Just weird stuff's happening to me. I have to pay. So does weird stuff happen to you?
Weird stuff happens all the time.
Okay, we're on the right track. Okay.
Ever since I was young.
Okay, so, all right. So this is what spirit wants me to feel and experience. So you get to see, people, how I live my life when I know I'm supposed to connect with somebody. I will have the strangest ass things happening to me, and it can be emotional. It can be what you just witnessed. You think it just seems odd or normal, but I've learned to read it as her soul has some big ass issue it wants to talk about. So that's what we're going to talk about. So you ready?
Yeah.
What is it that you want to talk about besides what they pointed out?
Okay. Well, I wanted to talk about I've been married 26 years and trying to make a decision to continue and get a house in another state or just forget it. I just wondered if it can work out. See, this is any possibility that it can work out.
All right. First of all, do you honor yourself?
I feel I do now. I did not in the past.
Okay, so that means you started to build up on some self-efficiency, some self-confidence and self-esteem. Yes?
Yes.
All right. So why would you want to take and throw that all away?
I don't. I will never throw it away now.
Okay, you heard her, folks, right? You heard her? Then why the hell are you still in that marriage then?
Mostly financially.
Okay, very good. Now we got someone that's honest, that she doesn't want to give up who she is, but she knows she's so financially. So now let's help her a little bit further. So in this case, yeah, Spirit says, good job. But you're so hooked into believing that, how do I put this, made to feel like shit. Is that true?
Yeah, my husband makes me feel that way.
Okay, so here's the thing. You have a conditioned process that says you're supposed to feel like shit, that you gotta fill that quota every day. I'm gonna figure out how much of that 100%. Oh, wow. Okay, Spirit, where would you like her to go? She knows if she tries to go out on her own, she's going to be attacked. Is that true? Did I lose you?
No, I'm here.
Okay, do you?
I thought you were talking to Spirit.
I was, but then Spirit also asked, do you feel like you're going to be attacked if you try to do, like, go out on your own or show that you're smart or just be yourself?
Attacked by my husband or just leaving him, you mean?
Well,
I guess.
So would he should think that's a stupid idea? That's a form of attack.
Yeah.
Okay, made to feel like shit, that's a form of attack.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you have a brilliant idea for you, you probably think that's a stupid idea.
Oh, absolutely.
And that is a form of attack. So now that you've come to realize that this is happening, why do I point this out? Is because you created a response, which is a coping tool, about how to deal with being attacked. And if I ask Spirit, and Spirit says, well, you make sure you feel very awkward when you have any ideas, because the last thing you want to do is to re-experience. You don't want to re-experience the survival. You understand the first, second, and third chakras are all about survival. And they said your second chakra about survival in this case is, let me just look here. It says you can't let go of guilt. So when you guys have a conversation, does he make it feel like it's your fault?
Oh, he's a narcissist. Yes, it's always my fault.
Okay, so you understand.
Even if I wasn't even involved or near any of it, that's my fault.
Yep, that's a narcissist. Okay, so you understand your condition. We want you to heal so that you can, you can see all his signs, but I want you to, we're going to help you heal guilt, because guilt keeps you hooked. How people show up is that he's supposed to be a narcissist. You need to heal that because you expect it, because your brain's going to keep predicting it, because he's got you so convinced that there's no way that you could ever live without him because I made you.
Well, yeah. Well, he's just like my father. So.
Oh my God.
I've been doing this my whole life. That's why I just want to try to heal it rather than just go out and experience it again with someone else.
Good, because it'd be worse than the first. See, and the point is that you're locked into, one of the things you're locked into indecisive. This keeps you safe to some degree, because you don't want to feel attacked. You don't want to, you already know the shit's going to hit the fan. You know he's going to do this to you. You know that that's your pattern. This is what you know. You married your father. Good God, here you go again. And sometimes you will create excuses and reasonings so that you can keep fulfilling this. I don't want to feel being attacked. I don't want to feel this. But you still are. Your ego says it's trying to keep you safe, and your spirit says, well, the shit's happening anyway.
Right.
Okay. And but your brain says, oh, but fearfully, we don't know if we can financially take care of ourselves. No, I'm going to ask you one simple question. What would happen if he died and he didn't exist? Where would you be? Or how would you handle it?
I would just move on with my life.
Oh, wait a minute. Financially, you would move on with your life?
Yes.
You mean you can do it?
Well, most of our retirement is set up through him. So if he wasn't here, then I would get it.
Okay. So let's say he didn't exist and you were learning to go out on your life on your own. Is there any way that you could survive?
Well, yes, if he died, I would be able to survive financially.
If he did not exist, meaning he didn't have that excess money.
I don't know if I could.
Okay. Have you known anybody else that had to go through that situation?
Absolutely.
And was it hell or did they make it through?
Most of my friends, it's been very hard.
Okay. But you got one thing that they don't. You have the ability to heal this and let spirit provide for you. See, and another reason you would not leave him is because you've got proof and example that there's no fucking way I want to go through what those women are doing.
Exactly.
So that's be the first thing I'd want to heal is that, oh my God, impending doom. So your kidney meridian says, I have to have no empathy for myself so I can stay exactly where I am. I can't expand myself because I'm going to die. And do you understand that? Mm-hmm. Let me ask you a question. I bet you all those other women did too, but did any of them die?
No.
But they endured. Means, yeah. Okay, and you're saying, oh, fuck, I don't want to endure that. So you're saying I don't want that journey.
I don't want their journey. No, I've watched them, and they wish that they never would have lost the person that they lost. And
okay, so now here's the thing.
Either choice is bad.
Let me tell you something. If you don't work with spirit, you can end up like those ladies.
Right.
Okay, spirit told me I'm supposed to leave my husband. I was like, what? And then I got to realize he's a narcissist. I got to, and then spirit says, you got to trust us. We have a plan because we have something better than you could ever create. And I said, really? And so I had to heal my fear. I had to heal how I predicted that I'm going to end up like all those women. My mother finally got out of her situation with 5 kids and decided that she is going to have to do it on her own and do her. But if you asked her, would she have done it? She goes, I, and that's what she'd say. But then she goes, no, I'm glad I did because I saved my kids. I saved my life. Is it hard? Yes. Did I go and run with fear all the time? Yes. But if she would have healed that, then you would have had synchronicities. You would have been guided about what you're supposed to do because spirit tells you where you can land. It helps you, but you have to stay locked in your indecisive so you'll stay in that marriage because that's how you're programmed. Do you understand this? You believe it's true that you're going to die. You believe it's true that you're going to have to endure hell. You already said this is what's going to happen to me because your brain is predicting. What if we interrupted those programs? Seriously, we interrupt those programs and we start giving you your self-esteem. We start giving you back all of how you put that energy out there. See, your disconnects, the reason we couldn't get connected is because you can't get connected to yourself because you have all of these nasty ass programs that stop you from being you. And you're determined that you're going to talk to me. So you already have some determination that you don't want to live this way. So you can, right. So I would heal being very indecisive. because right now your trigger warmer is going off and saying, I have to put these self-imposed limitations. I have to correct myself because I don't want to be me. Oh my God. Who is Wendy? Do you know?
I don't know, actually. Well, I would believe I'm a walk-in or a starseed, so.
You got work to do.
No.
Oh my God, girlfriend. Okay, so first of all, we know we need to get you to be unafraid of yourself, and then but it's indecisive. So hope therapy is what I would tell you to do. But since you don't have that yet, I want you to just start doing EFT. You know what that is?
Yes, this happened.
Yeah, so even though I am indecisive, I deeply and completely love and accept myself, okay?
Okay.
You're going to dive into, even though I believe I believe my life is going to be hell when I leave. Remember, it's a belief. Any belief that tells you have to stay with your husband, tap the fuck out.
Okay.
Every time you believe that I can't do it financially, tap it out, or make an appointment with me and we'll just start diving in and getting rid of it.
Okay, sounds good.
Because if you really are a starseed, you got freaking work to do.
I know.
And we need you more than ever right now. So,
I'll make an appointment with you.
Okay, you need to write down all of those beliefs of the can'ts and I won't and I'm afraid, because you need to start owning and clearing this out, because you have to unhook that cord, because you don't need to be abused anymore, sweetheart. You're too much worth it, and you've got a job to do, and we need you big time.
Okay, I'll give you a call.
All right. Well, thank you for honoring me, and thank you for everybody we finally made it through. So thank you, my dear. I'm not sure how to hang up, so I'm going to trust that you hanging up, because I can't figure out how we got connected.
Okay, thank you.
All right. We'll talk to you later. Okay, people. See, that was a very interesting moment. I hope you all learned from that. I mean, Wendy, you should read some of the comments. Brenda Climo, giving you, she's living proof. Oh my God. See, you can learn from other people that's been there. And it doesn't have to be hard. Do you know you can manifest to have like financial issues? Okay. I could go and move in a house with my best friend, or I could go in and do community, groups or whatever, housing, or until you can get, I could do little things or find out about more who I am, so that you could turn around and have a job. I didn't think I was ever financially going to be able to do this. And then Spirit says, we've got this. We just got to put you in the right space. And then Spirit says, we can do this. Spirit, you get connected with your abilities and you start moving all that shit aside, you guys can really move. Well, thank you so much. Hey, Brenda, I'm glad that you stuck with us and everything else. It is time for me to go. You guys are great. And thank you so much for honoring me and for sticking around and listening to what Spirit had to teach me. And hopefully you all learned something. And thank you, Diana. And so what do I always say? Stay blessed.